All right, team, so I come to you with utter humility and truthfulness when I tell you that it has not been the easiest task to determine price action for really any asset during these last very volatile days. Now, XRP is a bit of a good, I guess I come to you with some pretty good news here, seeing that we have reached just about 95% of the targets that we talked about for the last 3 to 4 days, I believe. So this is absolutely amazing, guys, giving you the bottom side from this broadening wedge into the upper targets, resistances, pullbacks, and everything within and between these targets all the way up here, guys. So far, I guess we are at just about an A- or an A as far as the targeting is concerned and the timing as well. Now, that doesn't mean that I am right. It only means that so far price action is behaving as it typically does when it comes to macro closures. Remember, guys, we are experiencing here a bunch of closures and a bunch of different types of volatilities entering the market right now in spite of macro news and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? So why don't we just go ahead and find out what price action can do or what it has under its belt for the coming days. But before we do so, please do me a favor, team, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, do everything necessary to get this thing to live long, thrive, and survive. My name is Arca. I'm actually coming at you here at 12:06 a.m. Pacific time, September 29th, Monday, and price action on actually spot price right now, 286.91 live on XRP and reaching that very, very target that we talked about. Not exactly at this blue line. We spoke about that 288.78, and you can actually see the high of the range here, 288.56. So now my team is going to tell me that I am improving. Now I am not just a penny off. I'm just a few decimals off. But everything is good. Everything is good here, guys. I'm very excited to have provided this analysis for you here and kind of keep things at bay and help people understand that price action like this typically tends to follow kind of a historical embedded behavior, and this is something that we can observe. So let's move along with that notion as we speak about it, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at your daily time frame first of all. So look at that massive green close here, guys. This was your prior day. We're about 16. We're about what? Just around 7 hours into the new day. And just like always, right, we speak about the, 60 to 70% chances of retracing 30 to 50% of the prior bar, right? So we printed that prior daily bar here as represented by this large green one here. And this new bar that we're on, right? It retraced pretty much around 35% the daily bar, and now it's continuing towards the upside as per expected. Now, that's not the only dynamic that's kind of pushing and pulling here, right? We know that there are some macro ones, and all of these macro ones would I guess they would require some type of a pullback. We call it a decompression. Those decompressions can happen in any time frame, but when they happen to the macro times, like the weekly or the bi-weekly, these are your new bars now. They will introduce behavior that we have to try to determine, and we have to try to decipher, and that makes it really difficult. But so far, so good. Right? Now we have to look at the further macro time frame closures. Check this out. Monthly time frame closing in 1 day, 17 hours, right? Let's give a quick look at your bi-monthly time frame, but no. It's actually the quarter. The quarter, that's right. 1 day, 17 hours for the quarter to close. What is that telling us? Well, the average decompression time from its, this thing was on a rampage towards the upside, right? So a 3-month time frame usually ends up retracing when it's at around what? I would say around 72 to 80 hours prior to the closing of its bar. It would decompress towards its 50%. So it's technically doing that, right? So let's go ahead and mark off that 50% target. And this is where we were saying just yesterday that the probabilities of reaching a 281 target were large, right? In spite of this 3-month closure. Now that's not the only one closing. I will admit that we still have the 9-month closure as well, but we have to do what we can. So far, I do see upside continuation for the short term, but I think there could be something to really catalyze that upside. And I did share it once before, but I'm going to go ahead and repeat it now, should you not be aware of that thesis. But before I do so, guys, please remember that there are scammers out there, right? And they're asking for your money. They're asking for your crypto when you arrive to places like my Discord, right? So when you reach my Discord, you'll probably get a message from an imposter that kind of looks like me, you know? So just do not interact with them, because I will 100% never reach out to you first or friend request you first. That's not me. Okay, guys, I will never, ever do that. And also, please remember that on Twitter X, I only have one account, and that one account literally says that I only have one account, and this is it right here. Make sure that it has around that 5,600 followers. I'm following only about 80 or something. Don't make me change that to one, man. You know, so so that is what it is there, team. Okay, so. And right away, guys, the beginner's course is going to be starting here in just around 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Make sure to get your butts enrolled. We are in the back to school event, and that's a huge sale. It is, all the links are located below in the description, so make sure to sign up, get your butts in there. Let's make a difference in our trading. Anyway, so let's go ahead and try to determine the price action here for the for the macros, right? Typically speaking, when we retrace like this here, and I got to tell you this, we retraced early. It's been here for a while. You know that we've been hovering around that 269, 273, 285, and then retraces back, and then again, and then we go to 288 maybe, and then it retraces all the way back, and we've been sitting here for days and days and days. For days and days and days is not what the quarterly bar can support. The quarterly bar can support roughly over 3 days to retrace during that time frame. So if this is days and days and days, that tells you that we decompressed earlier than anticipated, than the average. So what does that mean? Well, through observation, right? Through observation and in time, I've noticed that when we decompress early, there is kind of a higher probability of kind of recompressing upward, or I'm sorry, I mean, I'm talking about really tightening up that upside, as in it was like kind of like a rubber band, right? And now we're releasing that tension, and it'll really go up again, right? So you're picking up bulls as we go down. In other words, when you're experiencing a quarter close, right? Companies, all of the companies are looking at the quarter close because of taxes, because of whatever earnings reasons, because of whatever it is, you know, reportings. We are also experiencing the monthly. And not only that, is that it is a 9-month closure. So your red September, red October notion is right here, because the quarter closes right here. That's why there's a delevering. Now, delevering, why? This is specifically a time where I remember a couple times we actually had something that was, the global open interest reaches just the massive levels to when people feel overly greedy. So what that does is that people open in futures contracts, right? The holdings of XRP with like a 20x, 50x, 100x, or whatever that is. So when we come up to these quarter closes, people are looking for that liquidity. Institutions may actually just pull off, rebalance, and in doing so, all of those contracts would probably be margin called, and it would create that decompression that happens on average, right? And it'll allow the opportunity for actual coin holders to purchase, right? So when this happens, you will get natural buying. It won't be so much as the futures trying to determine future price action. So it's pricing in catalysts that are coming in. Notice how price action has been stuck at the $3 zone, right? That's because all of the catalysts have already been priced in, right? So let's just go ahead and let the actual buyers purchase this and let that rise, or let that price rise in spite of real buying. So this is what's happening. It's a global open interest delevering. It's a huge deleverage here, guys. So that's I think it was a little tiny bubble that needed to be popped here in order for us to pick up real bulls, real purchase. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at this in the more immediate short term to see if we have some volatility signals leading towards that upside. I'm just going to make this video here another minute or two, and then we'll be done. All right, guys. So yeah, smaller time frame here is suggesting some consolidation. I guess 2-minute time frame upside. Let's see, 3-minute upside, 4 minutes still on the up. Let's see, 5 minutes. So yeah, actually, this is still leading towards the upside in the 15, 20, 30 hourly. Looking still pretty good into the, still on the bi-hourly time frame. There we go. So we have roughly around 3 hours of upside, seeing that we just opened your new bi-hourly and 3-hour bar. So that would give us, let's see, where's the data cells? We'll get ourselves a target, right? So that'll be 3 cents up. That'll put us roughly at around your 290. So 290, we already have some of those targets up there, right, guys? Here it is, 290.10. That's kind of where we're headed for at this moment. 290.10 then retraces, 4-hour time frame downside continues into the 6. The 8 would be total downside, and I got to tell you, that may have already happened. Nice. 8-hour time frame, 6 seconds to the downside gives you about a current ATR low of 280.55. This came down to just about 285. This is the 50% retrace on that 8-hour bar. I will say that it would happen after the 290, but I can't guarantee that it'll happen, guys, because there is a lot of disturbance, a lot of support, specifically with that 287 into these sections here, which are 286.26. So we'd have to break below that in order for us to get into that 285 or 280 zone again. So 283 gets in the way, and then finally, should it actually make the decision, it would roughly be a tangible target of around 280.94. Not sure that that's going to happen. So upside continues from there. I'm going to guess from 284 or 283, 12-hour time frame upside continuation, daily by daily. This would be still into the 3-day time frame, 4 days total upside. That would be giving us 29 cents to the upside, guys, and that would be a current ATR top of 303. So that is presently what I'm suggesting here, guys. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the targets that we have here and see if we have something around there. So it would be roughly these. There we go. There they are. So let's just go ahead and kind of put them on here because everything gets it gets out of whack. All right, guys. So I'm just going to leave that there, right, and say that this is the potential targets to where we're headed to. All right, guys, so heads up on that. I think this is a pretty good place to leave off. If any questions, you know where to reach me. That would be arcabulls@gmail.com. But with that said, I think, yeah. All right, guys, we'll speak very, very, Jerry, Scary Larry soon. Adios, and adios. Please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. Ever. I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well. A very, very good rest of your night and or day, and I will catch you at the Bell Mañana. Adios, team. Oh, yeah.